supposed to show up and apologize like you've asked, and that would mean that all attempts to have a fruitful conversation would have failed. Would you explore the last and final option? Is that part of what you may possibly consider on the table, or you would treat this differently,
All options are on the table for us,
including the Thunder God?
including that one. All the options are on the table for us because all we want is justice. It is, you see, my brother, you see, now the attention is being focused on the Archbishop, but we are not looking at the damage that he has caused the people of the Volta region and Nogoko in particular. Our youth, our women are going to have issues already. When one hears that you are from the Volta region, you are tagged. And then such an influential figure will come and make such a statement about a region and narrow it to Nogoko. My brother, the repercussions, the implications for our younger generation or for our people, my brother, is very, very negative. So this issue, we must get to the bottom of it so that the right thing is done. So that nobody again will just get up and just defame a community and make a community look bad before the world.
Okay. Thank you for speaking to us, sir.
You're welcome, Chief.
That's Nufialagan Maufemo Koblan, Nogoko Traditional Council, a community a little beyond Agbozume in the Volta region. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 FM. We'll be back with more. Please stay.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know your papa see that? And it's rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how's your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. And you can't feel. Can't touch this. Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that.
Yes, so
Somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz. And he switched.
Sancho Panza. Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz?
No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer.
Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies dear improves fuel efficiency.
Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman.
Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. Let's still do some more stories. The minority in Parliament says it will approve Justice Gertrude Tokono as the Chief Justice of Ghana. The group suspended a consensus approval of the Chief Justice nominee after her vetting by the Appointments Committee, pending the full judgment of the Supreme Court on the dual citizenship case involving the then Member of Parliament for Asin North, James Jachekwesin. Addressing the media, the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yariga, says although the minority caucus disagrees with the ruling of the Apex Court, it will not withhold its approval of the Chief Justice nominee.
On the reasoning in the James Jachekwesin case, thankfully, the reasoning in the James Jachekwesin case has been delivered by the Supreme Court earlier than the 7th of June. This is significant. This has afforded us the opportunity to review the reasoning. The nominee for post of Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana, Her Ladyship Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokono, told the world that she is a textualist in her preferred approach to interpreting the Constitution of Ghana 1992. what was the text in dispute in the case of Michael Ankoma Nimfa versus James Jachi Kwesen and others? This is the famous James Kwesen case. It is Article 94, Clause 2A of the 1992 Constitution, and it reads, a person qualified to be a member of parliament if he owes allegiance to and Ghana, unquote. The facts of the case, not disputed at any time, are that Kwesen, at the time of being sworn in to become a member of parliament, had successfully renounced all allegiances to any other country, and his allegiance was to only the Republic of Ghana. Fidelity to the text of the Constitution of Ghana would have dictated that the controlling provisions in the resolution of the dispute are the words qualified to be a member of parliament, quote and unquote. Disappointingly, a professed textualist like our CJ nominee abandoned the text and chose to read into the text of the Constitution a replacement text, quote, qualified to file nomination papers to contest for election a member of parliament. She read this into the Constitution, whilst the Constitution was dealing with qualified to be a member of parliament. But what she was busy doing in the reasoning is to read the Constitution as saying qualified to file nomination papers to contest for election as a member of parliament. This is exactly why the NDC minority members of parliament on the appointments committee wanted to wait for the reasoning to see if the Chief Justice nominee, Justice Gertrude Araba Esaba Tokono, would be true to her publicly professed textualist approach to constitutional interpretation. Whilst the clear language of the Constitution was dealing with qualification to be a member of parliament, the Supreme Court veered off and was dealing with eligibility or qualification of a person to contest as a member of parliament. I'm quoting the Supreme Court directly in their reasoning. They actually used that. They said, we are dealing with eligibility or qualification of a person to contest as a member of parliament. But the Supreme Court talks about qualification to be a member of parliament. It is after the contest that you then get sworn in to be a member of parliament.
So that was Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Ayariga. Now, the minority also debunked some assertions made by the World Bank Country Director to Ghana, Frank Pierre Laporte, regarding the energy sector. The group urged him to stay away from politics and act as a technocrat. The ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee, John Jinapo, addressed the media.
In 2019, the NDP government came to Parliament and asked for approval to borrow 1 billion from Eurobond to finance energy sector related activities in order to reduce the cost. Soon after we approved the 1 billion, immediately the money landed. This government diverted the money and used the money for other areas that are not related to the energy sector. As if that is not enough, in 2021, they came with a completely new tax known as the Energy Sector Recovery Levy to pay for what they describe as capacity charges. Ghanaians have been paying those taxes, and yet you are still complaining to us about so-called capacity. Ghanaians are sick and tired of this unnecessary and flimsy blame game strategy adopted by this government and their hirelings. President Akufo-Addo and his head of the economic management team, Dr. Baumia, must accept responsibility, demonstrate leadership, and find reasonable solutions to the current economic hardship confronting the ordinary Ghanaian on a daily basis. President Mahama's record in the energy sector is unmatched. President Mahama, before leaving office, ensured that we had a comprehensive foothold, i.e., on the generation, on fuel, and on the financial sector. We finally wish to advise the World Bank Country Director, Mr. Laporte, to continue to work as a technocrat and not meddle himself in the field of. Mr. Laporte, you are not a politician. And when you are making such unsubstantiated comments, you must bear in mind reaching ramifications on this country. The minority will continue to hold its chest high, will continue to defend the track record of President Mahama and the NDC administration, because our record is unmatched, is unparalleled, and that is nothing but the truth.
That was the ranking member on the Mines and Energy Committee of Parliament, John Jinapol. Let's also stay in the House because the legislator for Nego Pram Pram, Sam George, has disclosed that the Speaker, Alban Bagben's official SIM card has been deactivated despite undergoing the SIM re-registration exercise. Over 8 million unregistered SIM cards were deactivated by the telecommunication firms after the May 31 deadline by government. Although the Minister of Communications has been scheduled to appear before the House on Thursday, June 8, to apprise the legislators on the exercise, Samuel Nati George stressed the need for the Minister to appear on time to address concerns.
In fact, we should have had this briefing today, if possible, because we are talking about over 8 million SIM cards that have been disconnected, including even the SIM card of the Speaker of Parliament, not the Deputy, but the Speaker of Parliament himself. His official SIM card was disconnected, even though it was registered in the name of Parliament of Ghana. We have judges, we have lawyers, we have doctors, MPs whose SIM cards were disconnected. Even me, my SIM card was disconnected. Our SIM cards were disconnected. But I'm the honorable member of Parliament for the Go Program, elected member. The National Identification Authority must provide us Ghana cards. Because, Mr. Speaker, it is important that the minister briefs this House, even if possible today, because people's livelihoods have been affected.
That was Sam George, Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Pram. Now, the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagben, has sworn into office the elected Member of Parliament for Kumewu, Ernest Yawinim. This comes after the Electoral Commission certified the MP as new elected Member of Parliament for the area with 15,264 votes in the by-election conducted on May 23, 2023. Ernest Yawinim takes over as the legislator for Kumewu following the demise of the then Member of Parliament, Philip Baswa. He has Ernest Yawinim taking the oath of allegiance and Member of Parliament being administered by the Speaker.
You repeat after me. I,
Ernest Yawinim,
having been elected a Member of Parliament,
do in the name of the Almighty God swear
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Republic of Ghana,
as by law established,
that I will uphold, preserve, protect,
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana,
and defend the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana,
and that I will faithfully
and
and conscientiously
discharge the duties of a Member of Parliament.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Honorable Member, congratulations.
So that was Ernest Yawinim, the newly sworn-in Member of Parliament for Kumewu. Now, Deputy Ranking Member on the Education Committee of Parliament, Dr. Clement Apak, has described the proposal to increase the school feeding grant from 97 pesos to 1 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos, as woefully inadequate. The Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Larry Bazuera Abudu, proposed a new grant of 1 Ghana cedis, 20 pesos per child, but the school feeding caterers who have withdrawn their services since the reopening of schools have rejected the offer. Speaking to City News on the matter, Dr. Clement Apak said the government had to increase the grant to 3 cities, 50 pesos per child, in accordance with its commitment to social interventions.
I believe that the proposed increment is woefully inadequate. It wouldn't be fit for purpose. It wouldn't make a difference. And I shudder to imagine the type of food that the woman can prepare with 1 cedi, 20 pesos. So I disagree with the current proposition. I think that government ought to be able to raise it to the 3 cedis, 50 pesos, as originally asked for by the woman. After all, government has assured the Ghanaian public that social intervention programs, including the school feeding program, would be protected. The Minister for Finance at the joint press conference with representative of the IMF in America made it clear in responses to various questions that social intervention programs would be protected and enhanced. And that is why I believe that with a budgetary allocation of 959 million as approved by Parliament, and with the first tranche of the bailout having come in, social intervention programs like the school feeding program must be prioritized, and that should include the request of 3 cedis, 50 pesos.
In related news, the Busa South Member of Parliament also served notice that there must be an urgent question in Parliament to demand answers to issues confronting the school feeding program.
The school feeding program is not housed under the Ministry of Education. It is housed under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. But I've even argued that given that the program is supposed to increase enrollment and ensure retention in the basic school system, we should look at resituating or relocating the school feeding program under the Ministry of Education, which would then give the Education Committee full oversight. But be as it may, the Education Committee continues to maintain an interest. So what tends to happen is that we go at it and raise the issues around the school feeding program by filing questions not to the Minister for Education, but to the Minister of Children, Gender and Social Protection. And I believe that as Parliament has resumed today, a number of questions would be filed to the Minister, and I intend to file an urgent question to the Minister on this matter, because I truly don't believe that 1 cedi 20 pesos is sufficient to prepare a nutritious hot meal per day to feed our wards in this time of hyperinflation and high food inflation in particular.
You heard the voice of Dr. Clement Apak, who's a member of Parliament for Busa South and also the deputy ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
You know your papa see that? And his rickety car. Hey, Papa!
Bobo, so how your engine now?
It is half man, half amazing. Thanks to Quartz and you. Can feel better energy.
Can't touch this.
Actually, guys, so Sancho's engine just died like that.
Yes, so
Somebody managed to convince him that there is a better engine oil than Quartz, and he switched.
Sancho Panza.
Now, which engine oil can be better than Quartz? No other, my guy. Quartz with its age-resistant technology, it keeps your engine younger for longer. Now you know. Have you guys seen the new bottle design? It's superb. Quartz 9000 from Total Energies there improves fuel efficiency. Why do you think Mr. Mane and Logoso have taken the Quartz Nation movement World Cup like that? Sorry, Chairman Omani. Chairman, hey, Quartz. Keep your engine younger for longer.
Let your voice be heard on Eyewitness News on Facebook at facebook.com/City97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/City973, and Instagram at instagram.com/City973 with the hashtag Eyewitness News.
You're welcome back. This is Eyewitness News on 97.3 City FM. A few weeks ago, we spoke to you about, or we shared news with you about what was happening at the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission had said that some members of the company were earning more than they ought to earn. and there was a need to slash their pay and other gratuities that they were receiving. Now, the workers, unhappy with that, have threatened to embark on a strike. The National Labor Commission has intervened and it has issued a statement through Dr. Bernice Welbeck, who is Director of Administration for the Executive Secretary at the NLC. And the statement says, we have received a complaint that's above dated 5th June 2023, filed by the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, notifying the National Labor Commission of a threat of strike by the staff of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation, GBC. According to the notice, the workers have threatened to embark on a series of industrial actions unless the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission restores the payment of allowances to some staff of GBC that it had withheld. The National Labor Commission, in exercise of its powers under Section 139 of the Labor Act 2003, Act 651, writes to summon the parties to appear before the Commission on Wednesday, 7th June 2023, at 1 p.m. for a hearing of the issues in dispute. With intervention, the staff of GBC advised to stay all or any intended actions and appear as scheduled. Please, parties are to take note accordingly. That's the statement that has been issued by the National Labor Commission. Someone Nat Kevo is the divisional union chairman of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Sam, you're welcome to Eyewitness News. Have you received this communication?
Thank you very much. I just received it a few minutes ago.
Great. What are you going to do about it?
Oh, definitely, as a law-abiding union, the citizen union, of course, will be appearing before the commission.
Which means you are going there tomorrow. Would you also then call off all the intended actions until then?
I will not be able to respond to either the calling off not. We have declared an intention with a roadmap. I can tell you, I've also filed a petition, and we submitted it today, this morning, before I just received an invitation from the Labor Commission.
You can't be on strike and negotiating. So surely, if you're going to have a discussion with the NLC, you shouldn't go there with a strike in your bag. That would be bad faith, wouldn't it?
Oman, as we speak now, GBC, we are not on a strike. We have made an intention to go on an indefinite strike. So this week, what we are virtually doing, we are hoisting red armbands and red banks to make our indication. So the decision was that by Friday, close of this week, if we don't receive any positive response or the restoration of allowances from the Fair Wages and Salary Commission informing the Controller Accountant General Department of the illegal decision, then we will declare an indefinite strike. So as we speak now, we are not on strike yet.
But you don't plan to go on strike tomorrow, do you?
No, we don't plan. I said the red flag will be hoisting wearing from our various places in Accra and beyond, all the regional offices of GBC and the installation. The workers that we are all in red bands. But we're saying that up to Friday, if we are not able to get a positive response from Fair Wages and Salary Commission, directing the Control Accountant General to reverse the decision, that's where we would declare the indefinite strike.
It sounds as if you're going to the meeting with your mind made up. You're not going to listen to anything. It's either your way or the highway.
I don't think our mind is made up. We are law abiding. We have been invited. So the complaint thereof, what we have been made to be aware of, we don't know exactly the complaint's intention to. One that stated that intention to go on indefinite strike will be made known at the discussion table. Because I don't think would have even reached out to Labor Commission, Oman, if the due process by Fair Wages was followed, we would have not reached this level at all. We are an industrial practitioner who understand the union work a lot, and it's not GBC is not a union. We just easily go on strike or just to make to weigh us, so to speak. But when we are pushed to the wall, you think you believe dialogue is not working. That is where the ultimate decision comes from. So respectfully, we'll be going there tomorrow. We will listen to them, and then whatever the decision, they will make our case known to them.
Thank you. Wish you all the best tomorrow. Thank you for speaking to us.
Okay.
Samuel Nat Kevo is Divisional Union Chairman of the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. Up next, Netele Neti will be bringing us the latest in the world of business. And then the City Business Festival on-air series comes up next. Tonight's topic is the changing payments landscape. And the conversation is Andrew Techi Apia. He is a founder and CEO of ZPay. You don't want to miss that. Have a good night.
Eyewitness News. Be there as it happens.
Get the details. Every significant financial transaction, every market movement, and all the policies that affect your business. City Business News. Be informed.
Time now for City Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citybusinessnews.com. Coming up, let's settle for the details now. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has assured investors of government's commitment to ensuring a rapid recovery of the economy following the recent economic crunch. The depreciating cedi coupled with high inflation resulted in creating an unfavorable business environment for businesses. Speaking at the 2023 Ghana Investment and Opportunity Summit in the UK, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia invited more investors to make Ghana their destination as government is putting in place measures to build back the economy.
The government of Ghana remains unwaveringly committed and swerving in employing resilient and dynamic measures that are distinctive to our economic recovery to proffer benefits to investors and the people of Ghana. Major fiscal and monetary intervention the government, together with stakeholders, have enrolled includes the introduction of the Gold for Oil program to address the balance of payments crisis. This intervention has been one of the most important macroeconomic policies to deal with the rising price of fuel and its implications. This is gradually setting the country on a course of stability in the general level of pricing. To further ensure financial stability of the country, government has established a financial stability fund with the help of development partners to provide liquidity support to banks, pension funds, insurance companies, fund managers, and collective investment schemes to ensure that they are able to meet their obligations to their clients as they fall due. We are confident that these measures will contribute to restoring macroeconomic stability.
Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia also said government was working to increase the growth of its non-traditional exports from $2.5 billion to over $25 billion by 2029.
To expand and diversify the supply base for value-added industrial export products and services, the government, through the National Export Development Strategy, has strategically outlined 17 sectors which are not exhaustive and includes cocoa, cashew, horticultural products, oil seeds, fish and fishery products, textiles and garments, natural rubber sheets, and aluminium products as priority areas for national development. The government of Ghana envisaged that over a duration of 10 years, our non-traditional exports would grow from $2.5 billion to $25.3 billion by 2029. This, however, will be accompanied by deep structural transformation that will position Ghana as a competitive export-led economy.
You heard Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia speaking there. Afroset Montgomery Group, organizers of ProPac Ghana, an exhibition and trade conference, has indicated that its preparedness to offering a platform for Ghana's manufacturing sector to become more competitive in the global space of trade. The company maintains that with the changing demands of the global market, it has become increasingly important for players within the packaging, processing, labeling and printing industries to leverage on the new technologies to add value to their production. Speaking at the maiden edition of the Exhibition and Trade Conference, Christian ProPac Ghana, George Pearson, Regional Director of Afroset Montgomery, highlighted the importance of how the exhibition will help open up businesses for indigenous operators.
As organisers, we've always seen Ghana as the next opportunity to expand and reach of the portfolio due to the stability, prosperity and attractive business opportunities. After significant in-depth research and continuous engagement with key stakeholders for the last 18 months, at the start of 2022, it was felt that it was right to commence work and launch the exhibition into the market. I'm pleased to stand here before you today as we inaugurate the opening day of this long-awaited event. ProPac Ghana will be the first ever dedicated international exhibition to serve the manufacturing industries in this country. It will provide a platform for suppliers and service providers to display cutting-edge products and service offerings showcasing the latest technology, bring new companies to Ghana for the first time, act as a unique platform for those more established, and ultimately help drive its integral industry forward. Visitors to the event will be able to explore the latest innovations and products from leading suppliers from the region. And in addition to international companies from all corners of the globe who will be showcasing the newest advances in industry innovation and products that are collectively supporting the local manufacturing industry.
That was the regional director of AfroSet Montgomery, George Pearson. A Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, has indicated that government is pursuing diversification strategies to address the potential impact of its energy transition framework and a recent decline in oil production. According to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, crude oil production dropped from $55.05 million barrels in 2021 to 51.7 million barrels in 2022. He emphasized that the marginal drop in oil production could have repercussions on the country's economic stability, thus the need to mitigate any potential shortfalls by implementing measures to counteract the effects. Dr. Amin Adam expressed concerns during the launch event of the 2020 Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative report in Accra.
For me, recent developments in terms of decline in oil production and coupled with the potential negative impact of energy transition, which is likely to lead to low investment in the sector, call for urgent action from all of us to reduce the impact of these industries on our economy. What it means is that we have to increasingly diversify our economy. And this is why we are looking at so many other areas, including the value chains, to see how we can link these resources that are impacted by the energy transition with the rest of the economy.
You heard the Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam. And finally, as new technologies hit the market very quickly, panelists at the first forum of the 2023 City Business Festival have highlighted the need for the implementation of a regulatory framework to ensure the efficient use of data in the country. The panelists posit that this will help create the right policies to enhance the efficiency and quality of selected digital public services and strengthen the digital innovation ecosystem in Ghana. Franklin Asari is the Chief Executive Officer of Tech Gulf Ghana Limited, and he's been speaking on the issue.
Another thing we also need to look at is the regulatory framework. For example, data sovereignty and data privacy rules need to be enforced to allow the Ghanaians to be able to save on the local platforms, because most of us will have phones here. The data is residing outside. And the ability to use that data resides with U.S. companies and the permissions also. I don't say U.S. alone. Some of them, TikTok is in China and all of these other things. If we are to play seriously, some of these things, using regulation, using funding support, need to be brought into the country to help us. Then my colleague here talked about e-commerce enablement. We talked about fulfillment. That is a key area. We need to make sure we can use all these. In the UK, they can use drones, that kind of thing, to drop something. I don't know what will happen in Ghana if you see a parcel coming. Somebody might just take it if it's not theirs.
That was the Chief Executive Officer of Tech Gulf Ghana Limited, Franklin Asari. This year's edition of the City Business Festival is powered by City TV and City FM in partnership with APSA and is proudly sponsored by MTN Momo, MTN Business, and ZPay with support from Gesal. And that's it for the City Business News on Eyewitness News, powered by citybusinessnews.com. My name is Netelinete Ajaho. Have a good evening.
The biggest business festival in Ghana is on. Mark your calendars this June as we bring you the City Business Festival 2023. The running theme for this year's festival is Make It Ghana. It's going to be a month-long conversation on how to grow, improve, and expand your business with seasoned industry experts. Join the weekly business forum every Tuesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. live on City TV for discussion sessions on various thematic areas each week, beginning with Week 1, Reimagining the Digital Economy. Week 2, Building Resilient SME Brands. Week 3, the changing phase of the Ghanaian retail market. And Week 4, understanding and leveraging agribusiness value chains. Also, tune in every weekday at 9:05 a.m. for the City Business Festival on-air series on the City Breakfast Show on 97.3 City FM to acquire the information you need to kickstart and strengthen your business. There will be a lesson for every business on the City Business Festival 2023 this June, only on City TV, 97.3 City FM, citybusinessnews.com, and on CNR Digital. The City Business Festival 2023 is powered by City TV and City FM and is proudly sponsored by MTN.
City 97.3.
Accra.
We're talking about the digital economy as part of the business festival that is in the whole month of June. My guest, Andrew Techapi, a fascinating story. Less than a decade ago when we spoke, he was now talking about how his company was going to do well in Ghana. Now we have 33 countries and counting. A company that's been growing in the almost unfathomable levels of growth. Indeed, in the COVID year, their CAGR was over 125%, which is almost unheard of. How has he done it? We'll talk a bit about the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, borderlessness, and a campaign they're launching as we try to talk to this very interesting man. You released an article earlier this week where you talked about the conversation surrounding Africa's youth being mad with negativity, whereas the ingenuity of young Africans is what we should focus on. If I'll quote something you said that if I've learned anything in these past few decades, is that governments and establishments can never, through legislation and committee, duplicate the type of ingenuity that the youthful mind concocts. The best gift we can give our youth is to stay out of their way and allow them to show us what is possible, not to tax and bureaucratize their dreams to death, but rather lift them up and offer guidance and support. I sense this is like somebody talking after 20 countries where governments have stressed your life. So talk to me about this. You're saying that the real growth is from private sector, younger people, and that governments don't actually create the innovation. They rather catch on when you guys do the work and they come and regulate. Is that what you've seen in the decade that you've been doing this?
Well, look, I like to quote my friend Mayor Motley. Prime Minister Motley always says to me that, look, Andrew, governments don't build, we enable. Governments enable. Governments just enable. Right. They identify their ecosystem, and then they leverage it by enabling that ecosystem to propel it for growth. So if we're propelling our youth for growth, then good. I see different views. Some of them positive, some of them near positive, some of them will get there. I travel and I deal with a lot of regulators. Obviously, we're regulated by over 10 central banks. So you can only imagine what we go through. You know what I mean? Some of them are soft, some of them they are learning, some of them are very mature, they understand. What I was just trying to say is, for the first time, let's take a step back. We're talking about a continent that 70% of us are youthful, of which only about 30% of that group is employed. So we have huge unemployment. We have potential problems about to hit us, especially as our markets are contracting. And you know, COVID didn't help us, and post-COVID has been a very interesting experience, from exchange rate volatilities to market volatilities in itself. But yet we're trading. I think if there's one good thing we've done is to create the Africa Free Trade Agreement. It's a wonderful thing. I always say that when the COVID is over, what you're going to find is a lot of young people will not see borders anymore. The guy who lives in Zambia and wants to sell flowers would go to Rwanda and buy flowers and come and trade. He will not care for the first time ever that he has a visa, he has a passport, whether he will go on the trade route with a bus and pay his way into a country and move because he doesn't want to go and stay in the country. He just wants to benefit from what the country will give him to take advantage of what will happen in his own market. If that's the case, then yes, my argument stands to be correct. We need to look at it from a different perspective. You understand me? We need to create a lot of enablement. I always say this, that most young people are not looking for long-term money. They're looking for overnight money to trade. I tell my banker friends all the time, they've got an opportunity to supply Bernard with water. It's a wonderful opportunity. They've worked 6 months to get it. They just need overnight money so that they can pay and get the water for Bernard, and Bernard will pay them when they deliver. Can we build instruments that are digitally backed so that we can see the transaction and therefore support them? We can.
What are the banks missing when it comes to the SME sector? I get the sense that a lot of SMEs need money, but they feel like the banks and the way the interest rate structure is, it doesn't make sense to go to these banks for money. I'm appealing to your banking past now.
Yeah.
What is it that's missing? Is it that the cost of funds is too high so that the money, the overnight money you're talking about, we can't pay back quickly enough? What is it that makes it so difficult for small business to get access to money to scale up as quickly as they ought?
Well, I don't think your average SME person is worried about the exchange rate, the interest rate. Frankly, they are not. They are more concerned that they'll be able to meet that supply because all they have is their honor. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if his margin would only be 2-3% and he'll be able to do it multiple times, he's happy because that's how he will scale. When he has to make premium, after a while, he himself recognizes it's not sustainable. I think what we failed to appreciate, and I don't mean banks only, financial services, asset managers, capital market players, and banks put together, what we have failed to do is understand these businesses. Because we don't understand them and their risk profile, we de-risk them, and then we choose not to work with them. So the first thing we do is we don't support startups, we don't support fintechs, or you don't have this, so we can't support you. Do you see what I'm saying?
But you do recognize that I push back on that. The interest rate problem is much big because even the banks, they do interest rate per annum. Now you go to like savings and loans and microfinancing, they're doing like interest rate per month, right? Ghana has a particular interest rate problem. So my question is, what role can you guys play? Because again, you guys don't have the capital. You guys enable. The big money is coming from the global capital, which comes through the banking system. But somehow, the interest rates are high, and because of exchange rate issues as well, because if I'm going to get dollars to inject into a bank, and I'm going to do business in cedis, and the exchange rate keeps changing, then I can't even pay back. So I don't know whether those are just economics issues that need to be discussed separately, or because you guys have been able to penetrate the SME sector, you've learned a thing or two about how we can actually make finance available to SMEs to create a more inclusive development.
Well, look, I think that I will push back with you and say that I shared a slightly different view. And that view is, first of all, your average SME is not worried about the interest rate. They are worried they are concerned more than anything that they will deliver and they will be paid and they will make a margin on it. What we need to do as bankers, let me wear a banker's hat, is to stop de-risking and build risk profiles that will support companies like that to sustain their growth or to even come out of the waters, right?
Okay.
I'll give you an example. So take a capital asset management company. Why don't you look at an SME that says that it has the potential because it has a market and say, why don't I help you build a simple balance sheet by getting 5 people, including Bernard Ablet, to put 10,000 into it? Maybe that's 50,000. For all you know, 50,000 is all he needs or she needs to make that trade possible. Why don't we say that that trade should have a tripartite agreement, which is a simple instrument between the buyer, you the supplier, and me the financier, so that I make sure that the payment comes in. And we make sure that when the payment comes in, it comes to sit with us, and therefore we liquidate for all to be happy. Why am I saying this? Because I've been here before. But I remember there was a time when Premium Bank shut down. We couldn't operate. They went dead with our money. Right? Literally, Bernard. So we had to build our own balance sheet. We went to Glyco Capital. We said, look, guys, we have a wonderful idea. We'll talk to friends and family, manage the risk for us. We were able to raise in excess of 2-3 million. If I even had foreign companies coming to participate over time. Do you see what I'm saying? That is how we were able to cross 2018 and into the larger part of 2019. Do you see what I mean? So my point is that it's possible. It's really about looking at de-risking.
What about the exchange rate question around, and I wrote about this in an article a couple of days ago, where because we import so much, we depend so much on dollars, and we import inflation because once the interest rate in the US goes up and investors move to that part of the country, we're in trouble. We buy almost all our inputs from outside Ghana.
Yeah.
Your company became famous for being the pioneers in remittance to wallet.
Yeah.
So you know a thing or two about money coming from abroad. In fact, in 2020, we got $3.5 billion in remittance. Think about that. That's same as what you call FDI.
Yeah.
So the whole of UOF grant effort, private people like my uncle in the wherever is giving me that kind of money, right? So that's a big industry. How do we use that to solve our exchange rate problems? Because I feel like our macroeconomic instability is largely driven by dollar dependence. And because you play in the remittance market, what have you learned about Forex and how we should manage it as a country collectively so the volatility reduces?
It's managed. Well, I think I don't want to say it's a systemic issue, it's deep-rooted, right? And you need to give me a little bit of time so you can hear this one.
Yeah.
First of all, look, if we talk about volatility, last year alone, we processed about almost $1.82 billion in remittance volume. So we did a good chunk of what came into Ghana. I think $4.7 billion came into the market last year. Okay. Now, back to our conversation. What do we know about Forex? What I can tell you about Forex is like water. It's a finite level. Do you see what I mean? But there are some fundamental things that have to be put in place. Some of it from a regulatory standpoint, which a regulator does every day. Some of it from policy standpoint, which is from the fiscal side, and some of it from the market play itself. Okay, so, Bernard, we have a supply issue. I think we need to have a real look and rethink about regulations when it comes to banking. If you take your average commercial bank, it's capital, it's funding agric, it's funding manufacturing, it's funding the today fintech, it's funding all these different industries.
Yeah.
They are stressed. Do you see what I mean? The time has come for us to start asking ourselves, don't we need a settlement bank? That its core focus is just settling offshore on behalf of local banks, like we do with Citibank, but this time resident in Ghana. So if such a bank existed, what they do is they operate something called warehouse loans, which they take from offshore entities, not just banks. So anytime there's a payment, Bank A says, this is the money I want you to pay on my behalf. I'll put in a safeguarding account. This is the instructions on it. You paid offshore out of your warehouse lines. So the money never leaves the country. Do you see what I mean? So you start to take the pressure off the city. But it needs a lot of regulatory look into and rethink.
And you're proposing a settlement bank as one of the solutions?
As one of the solutions, not just Ghana, but across the continent.
Interesting.
Right. Then the other thing is we also need to expand, and I suppose that's what the governor does very well. We need to expand the base of what brings in supply, which is why fintechs like us came into the market. Well, we know we're very sector-driven, we're very sector-focused. You rightly put it, we're remittance-focused, so that we can bring in a lot of dollar into the market and allow the market to play. Do you see what I mean? Then also, another thing that has become very critical and necessary is we need to look at the type of transactions we're doing. Sometimes some of the monies are moving out because of fear and panic, right? So maybe if we allow for outbound, which the banks are already allowed to do, but we simplify the outbound processes and made it bank sort of secondary regulated, it would also enable money to move out in retail components and take out the fear and panic that sometimes exists in the market.
That's interesting. I wanted to show the map of the continent as a prelude to our discussion on Africa free trade.
Okay.
And I will ask you to talk to me about the potential that AFTA has. It's a big topic, right? But when I look at the expansion of ZPay, so it seems very interesting. The red map of Africa, the green dots will be where you are.
Yes.
So you are green in West and East Africa. There's a big red gash at the top and a big red gash in the middle.
Yeah.
So it seems to me as though you started with Ghana, you dealt with Anglophone West Africa, and then did some Francophone West Africa. And then you went to East Africa and worked your way in. There's a huge chunk, Chad, Sudan, DRC, Angola, all the way to South Africa, which is empty. What's the logic of your expansion? What's the logic behind your your growth from Ghana? And by the way, we don't have many Ghanaian multinationals.
Yeah.
So that's actually a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's been a different topic, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like Ghanaian companies are satisfied to just be local champions. So for you to be in 33 markets, 25 of which are African, so like half of Africa you're already there, that's very significant. So talk to me about the appetite to globalize.
Okay.
Starting from Accra.
Okay, look, I think we built our playbook in Accra. The first thing was we test the use cases. We tested them, they were successful. What use cases is remittance to wallet, payment transfers. Then, of course, because it's remittance, and remittance is an $800 billion market, we needed to scale it. So it means that quickly we need to go. But what we chose to do is we go where the eagles don't go, then we build a sanctuary for them. So take a market like Zambia. Nobody is looking at Zambia. But the potential is enormous. So we'll go there and we'll build a sanctuary. Then the eagles will come. The vultures would even follow them. Sometimes they worry us, but it's okay for business, right? So the logic behind it.
In the bird analogy, what are you? If the eagles and the vultures are going, so what are you?
We would always be. We would always be the guys who build for the eagles to come.
I see.
Well, the nesters, if there's a word like that. But my point is, if from a logic perspective, look, we look at it from where is remittance going?
Yeah.
Where are the huge volumes going? And apart from the huge volumes, where do we see the ability to turn the market faster? Both from a regulatory standpoint, market behavior, adoption, and acceptance. And then we build up from there. Do you see what I'm saying? So it will interest you, we recently just walked into Kenya. We would not have gone into Kenya at the very beginning because there'll be vultures in the market already. There'll be eagles in the market already. Do you see what I'm saying? Now,
how do other Africans see a Ghanaian company? Typically, most African countries, their first FDI will be from the country that colonized them. So Ghana will be UK, Cote d'Ivoire will be France, and then it moves that way. How did other Africans see you, a Ghana boy, with a Ghanaian company, Ghanaian name, and then they said, yes, we want to do business with you?
Well, I think first of all, it's fair to say because it's remittance play, we work a lot with multinationals.
Yes.
So we come in from outside. The second thing is I'll say that 3 years ago, they were uncomfortable. Today, they receive us with a lot of excitement. Quite frankly, today, a lot of African countries, through its leadership, reach out and say, when are you coming in? We're ready to regulate you. Come in and support us. Because they've come to see the merit and the benefit of us coming in. Of course, the first is that as soon as we come in with supply, which is forex for the market. Secondly, we come in also to prove that it's possible. You know, we've actually taken that audacity that Obama talks about to another level. That says Africans can also do it. And I think it's a wonderful thing. If you look at Dangote, if you look at us, if you look at other Africans that are doing stuff like that, it's wonderful that Africans are building for Africa. Do you see what I mean? We're taking it to the world. If you take Caribbean, for example, the whole Caribbean put together is about $7.8 billion. Out of the $7.8 billion, what are the star markets? Haiti. 1 out of every 3 cab driver in Miami is from Haiti. I'm sure you know that already. If you go to Puerto Rico, the Puerto Ricans, they don't work. The people who work in Puerto Rico, which is an extension or annexation of America, are who? Dominican Republicans, right? So when Dominican Republic, when Jamaica, when Trinidad, when Guyana, when Barbados.
Wow.
So we looked at where we can get the most in the shortest period, and we attacked. We got our license first in Barbados because in the Caribbean, the Barbados is like Ghana. If they regulate you, everybody takes you serious. And they have very strict and stringent regulations. So that opens up the market for us. It makes it possible.
Wow.
And I personally think that when we finish and we connect the dots together, you're going to see it. It will be just one Afro-Carib.
Yeah. Did you have any specific challenges in Francophone Africa? Because there seems to be, so like Ghanaians are much closer to Nigerians than they would be to, say, Burkinabes.
Right.
How was the shift into the Francophone world?
Well, I think we've done actually very well in Francophone. Ivory Coast is our second biggest market.
Is it?
It's been for years, by the way. No matter how hard we work, we've not been able to change that. In fact, we've started mobile money. You know, we're licensed in Ivory Coast. We're opening our doors. It's really exciting. I'm really excited about this campaign because it's going to go across multiple markets. Our business model will always be remittance to wallet. So we don't go in necessarily to compete with incumbents. We go in there to continue our playbook. It's a specialized playbook. And out of our playbook, we're creating impact. There's a lot of impact. There's impact on women because women have access to funds. They have access to credit. There's impact on youth because we improve the last mile for them. Do you see what I mean? And then also, we disrupt the banking system, which therefore means that the impact is what? Price reduction. Did you see what I mean? Or even market efficiency from a practice perspective. So I think that Francophone Africa has been exciting. I'm actually exceptionally excited about Francophone Africa for a reason, and I'll explain to you from two angles. If you take Ivory Coast is a mecca today for Burkina, it's a mecca for Mali, it's a mecca for Togolese, even Nigerians.
It's like a center.
Yes.
So, viewers, by the way, so this is the company started in Ghana, and then do you have a sort of numbering of where you went after you went to? So Ghana first, who's second?
Ghana, then we did Uganda.
Uganda, so you jump all the way
right
to the middle here.
Right, then it didn't happen the way we thought it would happen.
It wasn't concentric, it was haphazard.
No, it was
so
haphazard
Ghana,
at the start.
Uganda, and then where?
Then we came back and did Ivory Coast.
So our next door neighbor.
Right, and Ivory Coast worked very well. Then we did Guinea-Conakry.
So that's just next door up there.
Guinea-Conakry was exciting. So okay, then we jumped to Mozambique.
All the way down.
Because again, it was opportunistic. The Eagles went in Mozambique.
Interesting.
We went there. We're first to market.
This is Portuguese, by the way.
Yes, but you see, that's what the beauty is, that it also always gives us the first to market advantage, because they didn't have it.
So you were the first company doing remittance to wallet in
most of the markets in Mozambique. Yes.
So Mozambique would typically have people who live in Portugal and in parts of Europe, or where? The US.
England.
There
are a lot of Mozambicans in England. Remember Princess Diana?
Oh, yeah. So they're sending pounds to their relatives in Mozambique.
But it's coming mainly from South Africa.
Interesting.
The copper mines.
Okay.
Zambia.
So a lot of them work down there as well.
Very localized regional activities going on there.
Wow.
So that's the beauty about trade and money in Africa. Everybody sees it from a very abstract perspective. But trust me, the funds are actually moving locally. A lot more. You asked about the cross-border opportunity. So the payment opportunity in Africa is estimated to hit 40 billion by 2025. But cross-border, which includes trade, it's estimated to hit in excess of 200 billion in the next 3 years.
So it's a multiple of the payments.
Yes, it is. Because and it will be the nickels and dimes. It will be the smaller trade sizes.
So the payment is what will let the trade go bigger. One of the questions people ask is, okay, so people can send me money from US or UK to Accra. Can I send money from Accra to my friend in Kenya? Is that something you guys should be thinking about? Or if I had relatives in South Sudan and I'm an expert in South Sudan, I wanted to send money for my son's school fees in Accra. Is that possible?
Let me answer you in the reverse. So from the 1st of June, on our platform, you can do it out of 6 African countries. You'll be able to send, Zambia is live, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Gambia, etc. You can send to 199 countries. If you add Gambia, it'll be 200, the origination country. Ghana, we've been in Sandbox for the last 2 years. And
so it's actually possible in other countries. So even though you're a Ghanaian company, you are ahead in other African countries than you are in Ghana in terms of the regulation and the speed to get this done.
I won't say it that way.
I mean, that's what you are saying.
What I'm saying to you is that the regulator has to be comfortable and confident that there will be market stability.
How do you find Rwanda?
Rwanda is an exciting market. That's one of our big markets. I'm actually in Rwanda tonight.
How did they see you? I'm told Ghanaians are respected in Rwanda a lot.
I worked in Rwanda for a long time. I was part of the startup team for EcoBank. I used to actually head the transaction banking proposition for the region out of Rwanda. They respect us a lot. The guy who built their tax framework, Very famous Ghanaian gentleman.
Yes.
Very, very famous. His name, Doctor.
I forget his name.
Labisian. Very, very smart. Very, very, very famous.
Many years Ministry of Finance.
Yeah.
So he built their tax.
Not only Rwanda, but even Uganda, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Ghana has a human capital, a respect thing on the continent that we are even not milking. That's a separate.
Right. But Rwanda is one of those markets that I love it because it's very adaptable. And of course, His Excellency Paul Kagame speaks and acts and lives the path when it comes to this whole digitalization.
Is it worth the hype?
I think it is.
You think it is?
I think it is. I think it is. Like every country that's come from a place, they need a bit of time, the people. But I think Kagame's model has worked. It will continue to work.
So did you find being a Ghanaian helping you in all these countries?
It is. It has helped us a lot. You know what? I tell you, Bernard, being Ghanaian, you're respected. You know what I mean? You're respected. You're treated differently because they assume that you have the IP and you have the know-how. Even the South Africans, they do respect us in South Africa.
Wow.
And I'm excited, and I'm hoping that a lot of Ghanaian companies will spring up the way we've sprung up. I encourage them as they come in right from day one, put a lot of governance into perspective, put a lot of play in, so that people will do what? Will respect you more.
Very interesting.
You see what I mean?
But this Africa free trade thing, it seems to be the new thing now. Do you understand it?
Well, I understand in the.
City 97.3. More variety. City 97.3. Accra.
A mother is a priceless gift. A mother makes sure her children never go hungry and are well satisfied with the best of meals made with love. And like a mother, Hallmark Cafe sees to the well-being of her clients by providing them with an amazing variety of both local and continental dishes made with love, and making sure our clients leave with a beautiful smile on their faces. We're open from Monday to Sunday between the hours of 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. For walk-ins, dine-ins, and delivery, visit or call our Bilingwe branch on 0557-875-909 or 0302-790-426. And for delivery and takeaway only, call our La Paz branch on 0509-814-409. We also provide catering services for both corporate, private, and public gatherings. Hallmark Cafe. Delight in every sip and bite.
Meet Mr. Ansah. He prefers to receive money from his friends and loved ones through the Agricultural Development Bank's remittance services, and his reason is simple.
Oh, for me, my brother lives overseas and he often sends me money. I can access it at any ADB branch nationwide, and what he sends is exactly what I receive. No wahala.
Is that why